Hello and welcome to our family channel. We share the most remarkable moments of our adventures and this time invite you to dive into the colors of Marrakech, the Ochre city and the tourism capital of Morocco. We hope you find it useful and inspiring for your next travel. We went to Marrakech at the end of March and this is one of the most beautiful times to visit both city and the country during the year. Even though it was pretty hot, sometimes up to 30 degrees Celsius, we managed to see the beautiful nature, blooming trees and gardens, waterfalls, snow peaks and red sand. Lots and lots of red sand. But our adventure started even before arriving at Marrakech, which would normally take a 3-hour flight from London. Because of air service strikes in France, our flight was delayed for about 2 hours and the captain had to take a longer route. The city welcomed us with a small yet quite modern airport, and after a quick border check, we got outside the stunning hot 30+ degrees, also having use of the cash machines conveniently placed in the airport. I will talk about using money in Marrakech later in this video. It took us a while to meet the driver for the transfer we arranged in advance, and free airport Wi-Fi was really helping with this. Many services here use WhatsApp, and you can often get in touch without needing a roaming package. The airport is just outside of the city, and luckily our hotel was on the same side. So our transfer didn't take longer than 15 minutes drive. Our first hotel was Fairmont Royal Palm. And I say first, but actually, we haven't planned to stay in more than one. We booked our stay at Fairmont and flights to Marrakech with the British Airways holidays. To our surprise, Fairmont has decided to offer the entire hotel for some event, starting just in 2 days after our check-in. And we got to know about this just a few days before the holiday. And luckily they offered us a decent replacement for the rest of our stay. We were quite upset at first, but in the end, it all turned out pretty well. Also thanks to Kate from British Airways Holidays who helped us arrange everything. Now, let us show you more of what Fairmont Royal Palm is. Fairmont is one of the top-tier brands of the French Ochre group. This upscale resort, spreading across more than 200 hectares, has golf fields and offers both hotel rooms and suites, as well as villas and residences. The main pool is about 2,000 square meters and claimed to be one of the largest pools in Africa, and there is also 2 more smaller ones, together with spa and the fitness center. Like other Fairmont hotels, this one has a rich interior, decorated with high-end textiles and materials, with large and spacious rooms. I won't go too much into detail here, and rather let you watch a separate video focusing on the rooms and services of the Fairmont Royal Palm, which you can expect soon on this channel. Because of the alterations, the hotel made an upgrade to our stay and we got a deluxe junior suite with 2 rooms and ground floor terrace. Despite some little quirks, the rooms had lots of Moroccan-inspired details and style that we really enjoyed. Unfortunately, the hotel didn't offer much for our 10-year-old daughter. The kids club was clearly too boring for that age and other activities were not available to book during our stay. This was certainly controversial to what we read in other reviews, but wasn't really a big deal. This was a long-awaited holiday and we hung out for the entire 2 days on the hotel premises, while enjoying included breakfast buffet, a massive warm pool, and of course getting sunburns from the first day. After that we had the unplanned checkout and 10 minutes transfer arranged to bring us to the another hotel. And I should say it was really worth the hassle. Selman Hotel is run by the Benani family and certainly quite unique. As a boutique hotel, it only has about 55 rooms and 5 riads, and certainly much smaller territory compared to Fairmont, yet all of its gardens are beautifully landscaped. Remarkably, every room is well packed and decorated in a very much traditional style, with lots and lots of detail, although certainly being smaller than the rooms we had at the Royal Palm. But that's not even close to the main building, where most of the interior is represented with the antique pieces from the Selman family collection, and it's like staying in a stylish museum, but with 80 meters pool, spa and top-class service, or more like a small palace with all these Venetian chandeliers. The hotel is clearly inspired by Arabian and North African horse riding traditions, and apart from guests, it hosts a dozen Arabian thoroughbreds, a breed that is derived from Arabian stallion and British mare. What's great, everyone staying at Selman can just walk in paddocks and see them all, and can also choose from a variety of paid experiences like horse riding class or a night show with the traditional dinner, also featuring a horse show. You can watch our separate video showing the Selman Hotel in more detail that we are planning to add very soon to this channel. With 4 more nights in Selman, our journey plans included a few more things to do and discover Morocco better. On our next day, we met with our group and departed towards the Atlas Mountains. The first stop was just in half an hour for a camel ride experience. And to be honest, we aren't the biggest fans of activities involving animals, but this one seemed like a must-do in Northern Africa, also being included in our tour. So the ride was certainly more special than the horse riding and was fairly short. Luckily enough, so we hope we didn't annoy the camels much with our presence. After a cup of sweet Moroccan tea, we moved on. Our next stop was visiting a local souk. That's a market in a small town. We were advised that filming inside isn't a great idea, well, and in fact the views were not very pleasant or exciting. So let's move on towards the Atlas Mountains. The next half an hour and we enter a valley with the snow peaks being much closer to us. This is where we also started to see more of small local villages where only a few hundred people live. Most of them either travel to the town for work or are involved into the agriculture, where producing argan oil is the main source of income. And we were actually invited in a small traditional manufactory to have a short break and share some mint tea with pita breads and some dips. The dips included the olive oil, honey and argan oil itself. Surprisingly, there is an edible version of it as well. Then we had a chance to see the production in action, and to entertain themselves and tourists, the women involved in the production also performed a little show. Getting a little break from 36 degrees in a dark cool house, and we continue our way to the mountains. On our route we passed the Kasbah Tamadot, which is one of the Virgin's limited edition hotels, bought and renovated by Richard Branson. After making a quick stop for the amazing panoramic views of the Tubkal National Park in the valley, we reached the Imlil village, where most of the hikes and mountain trails start. We're not certainly aiming to climb one, and just took a much shorter yet quite scenic trail to the waterfall cascade. The walk was even shorter than we thought, and after less than half an hour, we were struck by the views and sounds of the Ilmil waterfalls. So I will just leave it with you to enjoy the views. On the way back, we passed Kasbah Tubkal, which is another remarkable place with a long history. It is set right below the Mount Tubkal, the highest mountain in North Africa of more than 4,000 meters. And the hotel is owned by Discover Limited, which is a British company offering travel and education, and also partnering with the local Berber villages to develop the region with the school programs and jobs offering. We didn't stop at this hotel this time, but can show you some beautiful views of it. Before heading back to our hotel, we visited one of the local villages where a traditional Moroccan dinner was awaiting us. A freshly made tagine with chicken and vegetables was just delicious, and these amazing mountain views made a remarkable moment of our travel. The ride back took us just about an hour, and we descended from 1,600 meters, snow peaks, back to the red sand and 30 degrees, that quickly faded away together with the hot Moroccan sun. This trip wouldn't be complete without enjoying all the colors of Marrakech. So in the same week we had 2 half-day experiences within the city. We first started with a more modern area, where we visited Majorelle Gardens and the Museum of Yves Saint Laurent. The rather compact gardens are full of colors, and together with blooming nature, you can also see the bright blue building of the Berber Museum. This has certainly reminded us of Chauvin, or so-called the Blue City, that we originally considered visiting, but this turned out to be quite a stretch for us to get there. This one was definitely a great replacement to get a few shots with the bright blue backdrops and flowers. On the other day, we planned a more traditional and authentic experience, but not everything went according to a plan. Since our trip to Marrakech was just in the middle of Ramadan, the Bahia Palace we wanted to visit closed its doors 2 hours early, and that was a big miss. Could only wish they had that at the website, and luckily we didn't buy our tickets online. When deciding to travel during the months of Ramadan, we knew something like this could happen. And I should say here that Marrakech was very tourist friendly from this perspective. Fortunately enough, the rest of the experiences we had were not affected much by Ramadan. And in fact, we managed to find and book on Viator a unique experience with breaking the fast and in the evening having a dinner together with the Moroccan family. The tour guide walked us through Medina and introduced us to the local traditions of preparing tagine and other local foods. He invited us to one of the local houses, where we shared the table with the local women who prepared it for us. This was certainly one of the unforgettable moments of our trip. It's already night after having a dinner, and we are going back to the streets of Medina. Remarkably, all the scenery has suddenly changed. The main square is full of lanterns and lights, people are dancing, and lots of local food markets have popped up. Isn't it the magic of this Ochre city? By getting a taxi on the boulevard connecting the main square with the Koutoubia Mosque, negotiating a better deal, and heading back to the relaxed and tranquil vibe of the Selman Hotel. Now just a few words about money and taxi in general. I think it's quite important to note that Marrakech is different from many European cities. We haven't seen a single taxi that would accept a car. That's why having some amount of cash is quite critical here. We were prepared for that and withdrew about 1000 dirham at the airport, which was barely enough for our journey. The local taxis typically cost us about 100 dirham one way, after a bit of bargaining. And food on the markets isn't expensive either. You might also find a cash machine conveniently placed at the hotel lobby, but make sure you check the rates of your bank and watch out for the additional withdrawal fees at the cash machine itself. Most of the time you should be able to pay by card at the restaurants and hotels, although it's better to check in advance. We also found the mobile data coverage to be quite poor, and having offline maps on the phone was really life-saving to navigate on the streets of Marrakech. And as for ordering a taxi, we didn't bother at all with any kinds of apps like Uber or similar, which don't seem to work well in Marrakech either. Most of the times we either ordered a car from the hotel or just approached a taxi on the city streets. Luckily there is many cars available in the popular spots, even in the late hours of Ramadan. On our way back, we ordered a transfer to the airport, paying about 200 dirham, which was twice as expensive as a taxi. And in about 15 minutes we were queuing for the security checks and the passport control, which was super quick. The same airport didn't disappoint us and had pretty good offering of duty-free stores, including local and international brands. We also found a few diners that were not particularly impressive, but good enough for a small bite before the takeoff. So that was our family trip to Marrakech and the Atlas Mountains. We really enjoyed staying at the high-end hotels just near to the city and the airport at the same time, and the weather was very warm. So that's exactly what we needed for a short spring break with a 3 hours flight from London. The experiences we had in Morocco were indeed unforgettable, and we would certainly like to return once again, as there is so much more to explore. And just for convenience, we also included an example of a 6-day itinerary to help you plan a trip to Morocco. It's inspired by the places we have visited, but you can certainly add more or make it less intense if you like. Make sure to take a screenshot and feel free to post on social media. We really hope you find this video helpful and we inspired you to visit Morocco sometime in the future. You can find all the details of the tours and hotels we booked in the description under the video. Please let us know in the comments how we can make the next videos better, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Thank you and see you again.